So are you folks able to see the Teamsters Service Bureau photo?
Yes.
Okay. So folks, we are the Teamsters Service Bureau. We are a agency with two wings. One is employment services, the other is family services. And we're going to tell you a little bit about that and how we can help you through the layoffs. So we're hearing that there are 6 layoffs at Bemidji State that take effect in January of 2024. We're so sorry. It's a difficult place to be in for all of you. I've walked in your shoes and I know how stressful a coming layoff can be. Our goal is to provide you with support that will reduce your anxiety and help you transition to your next job. So with me today, I'm Jennifer Munt. I'm the Executive Director of the Teamsters Service Bureau, and I'm joined by Raul Sanchez, who manages our employment services, and Shar Barrett, who is our family services advocate.
So Jennifer, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Well, actually, it's more of a statement. So there was actually 4 from ASF that were laid off, not 6.
Oh, I was getting my information from an email that I received from Nina Johnson.
Yeah,
So,
I think at first
Yep,
it
might
was.
have been an out-of-date email.
oh, hi, Nina.
Hi.
Well, 4 is
Probably
much
our
better.
initial email was 6 when we were first touching base to let Teamsters know that it was coming down the pike, and then thankfully
Absolutely.
at least 2 dropped off.
So Jay, that's good news. 4 rather than 6.
Good news for some, yes.
Yeah, for 2. So moving forward, I don't know if you folks were following the news this weekend, but St. Cloud State is also announcing layoffs. What they're reporting is that they are eliminating 6 majors, getting rid of 23 faculty and 14 other staff that support the work. So we're starting to see many campuses doing this. So we want you to know that our Service Bureau is here to assist. And what I'd like to do is just start with a quick round of introductions from you folks. I'd like to know your name, your job title, how many years you've been with Minnesota State, and whether or not you want another job at Bemidji State or elsewhere in the system. I also know from talking with several of you that public sector benefits are really important. If you need to look for another job, you're interested in good health insurance and para pension. So tell us a little bit about you, and that will help us tailor our services to your needs. So Jay, I'm looking at you on my computer screen. Can you kick us off?
Sure. My name is Jay Pesa, and I've been employed at Bemidji State for 26 years. And I graduated from BSU. I was a grad assistant at Bemidji State University. My position is health education coordinator at the Student Center for Health and Counseling. I'm the only person doing my job at Bemidji State University. And part of what I do is compliance related to Drug-Free Schools, Violence Against Women Act, Campus Save Act, and we also do a lot of mental health programming in our department, and I'm typically the person that arranges that and lines that up. And so I'm one of the people that received the layoff notice 2 weeks ago.
Thanks,
And-
Jay.
Sure.
Who's next? So Mark, are you still there?
Yeah, it looks like it. I think he's still on mute.
Oh,
Now I'm on.
Here he is.
Sorry about that.
hi, Mark.
Hey, thanks for doing this. Got a lot of questions, so I appreciate you putting this together. My name is Mark Morrissey, a lot like Jay. I came to BSU, worked a bit as a grad student, about here 20, I guess it's 23 years. I work in the campus recreation. Specifically, I do outdoor rec and aquatics. So it's a kind of a unique role. This has got one of the older outdoor programs in the country since the 80s. There was this outdoor rec organization here that went from a club to a full-time position where we do adventure education, leadership, outdoor skills, take people climbing, teach first aid, teach sailing, stuff like that. So let's see. So that's me. I got two boys that are just about getting the end of their high school years and looking at college, including my son Lewis, who'd like to enroll here next fall. So foremost on my mind is family insurance benefits and the tuition waiver, which is no small benefit, and kind of one of the reasons I've certainly stuck around for that. And right at the moment we're about to use it, I get this notification of a layoff. So my situation was sort of attached to a bit of seemed like strange decision making to me, where they decided they didn't want to lease the building. So I think their decision stemmed from that. Like, we don't want to lease this location. We'll save $100,000 in contract that way. And then, well, if we don't need the location, we don't need a director. So it's kind of like a lot of us, very kind of bizarre decision making that was totally mysterious. So a lot of us are just, I know broadly around BSU, people are just, there's kind of a low morale and a lot of lack of faith in leadership. So that's, those are my concerns, of course, are just kind of like some financial planning. I want to utilize the benefits that I have. I'm probably gearing up towards doing something more, my own private business, doing this type of skills instruction. But I cannot look away from the reality that the tuition waiver and benefits are pretty important. So if there was other roles on campus or in a state agency where the work seemed suitable, I'd be really interested in that. And I'm in this weird position of, like, I've got these, like, the faculty have launched a grievance on behalf of me, like the faculty union. So I don't know what to make of all this right now. It seems like the decision might be up in the air, some sort of pushback. It's not been a popular decision here. So I don't know what to make of that. Like, I'm not running a campaign to keep my job. I'm just sort of dealing with my new reality. But the university has kind of a PR problem with alumni, faculty, and students that are really unhappy with losing a student service that's been here for 30 some years.
Thanks, Mark. Boy, it's quite terrible timing with your kids getting ready for school.
Yeah, to put it mildly.
Yeah. So, Brian, I'm wondering if you can speak to whether the union is negotiating internal job placements for these folks, whether public sector unions are fighting the layoffs.
So we initially we challenged the notification of the layoff because they didn't do it correctly.
Yeah. Yep.
And we have since not filed a grievance over the layoff because I don't know that there's a grievance. But we definitely will be questioning the decision making of the layoffs at the Bemidji State campus. I think the layoffs are effective. Is it December, guys?
Yes, end of December, January 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got some time.
Yep.
Yes.
On that question, on that grievance question, if I may, got a second?
Please.
Yeah.
So like this was the faculty, the faculty union put a formal grievance together like a week ago saying like it was something about like they don't, they're not to make these sort of weird strategic decisions without conferring with the faculty union. And I don't know what they've made of that, but I've got this group of faculty negotiators kind of going to bat for me that way. My particular story is also very strange. And last summer, I was subject to 6 weeks of leave for a conduct investigation that never became an investigation. It was just dismissed like it was an unfounded accusation. It went to no cause to proceed, right? So there was never. They literally took me off my job during my busiest season for 6 weeks, and then said, "Oh well, no cause to proceed," and then I'm back to work. And that was my busiest time. And so I think then looking backwards, go, well, look, they didn't make there's no revenue. We didn't have a lot of student activity. Kind of like, what's this program about? It just seemed to be a ludicrous chain of events. And I can't help but draw the line between that conduct thing, which again, there was no finding. There was like I think it was handled negligently, frankly, because it took so damn long. And then this layoff, I have a hard time not thinking that those are linked in some way. So this is what I want to pursue next. Like I don't know what options there are in terms of sort of, I don't know, like you, Jay, like I don't know if we're supposed to like lay over like a puppy, like, oh, don't let me go, I'm so great, or like punch him in the nose. Like I don't really know what's smart.
So I want to add this too, that here's what happened with me is that I received a Bessie, an early retirement option. And I asked the question of our administration. I said, if I do not accept this Bessie, does that put my name on the layoff list? And I was told that there's no correlation between not accepting a Bessie and being laid off. But
except there's a direct correlation.
Yeah, in my case, there absolutely is. Because I turned down the Bessie, and then a few weeks later, I received a layoff notice.
So Jay, I'm hearing ageism, and Mark, I'm hearing retaliation.
Retaliation is the question I have. That's correct.
Yeah.
And I didn't cause a big stink in my situation. Like I wasn't like raving about the leadership here. I went away. I came back. It was a terrible hardship for us in our department, my family, everything. But I didn't come back with a big stink and just work on having meetings and grievances thrown. Like I didn't really throw a fit at all. I was actually in the middle of a political campaign, so I just wanted it to be. I didn't want it to appear in the newspaper. But I was the person who led the investigation has now left BSU. I think because his work was so shabby. And then the same vice president who sort of like they never really handled it. Was like it was like a 3-ring thing, like HR and the VP and the equity inclusion officer. The 3 of them just sort of mishandled it week after week.
Yeah.
6 weeks.
So Mark and Jay, I would suggest that you all talk with your business agent, Gus Fromke, about the 2 things that you're talking about, the ageism, the retaliation, and I think also about whether we want to partner with IFO in fighting the layoffs, not just at Bemidji State, but at other Minnesota State campuses. So folks, my experience in a past life, I worked for AFSCME. And at the time, this was about a decade ago, they were handing out pink slips to the workers at the same time that they were giving bonuses to the bosses.
You got that right. Yeah.
right? And we decided that we were going to partner with all of the Minnesota state unions and fight that. And we did so successfully. What we're hearing at the Capitol is legislators are saying, because student enrollment is down 26%, each campus needs to cut its staff 26% to go along with that. In my opinion, that is foolish, because generally when a recession comes and layoffs start like they are now, enrollment increases at campuses, and then you let people go and it's really hard to staff up to make up for the layoffs. So I think the unions are in a position, if you all choose to fight this, what we can offer you is, if your layoffs happen and you're on unemployment, then we can help you find your next job. So what we're talking about today is worst case scenario. Okay.
Here's a question then. So like, we're already getting these listings for, other stuff around campus or whatever. And so then the way I understand it, like, okay, well, if you think that's a safe ship to jump to make that move, but then you're on this sort of probationary status, I don't know. Like, it just feel like I don't know how to play these cards at all.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, Mark, that we're able to do is, if you want to, if you know that being the aquatics manager isn't gonna, that job's not gonna be saved, we can help you retool your resume for whatever job opening is available.
Mhm.
So that's something that we can definitely help you do. It's, and the good news is that you've got some time to think about that.
Yeah.
But we are there to help you no matter what you choose to do. And what I hear you saying is the tuition waiver and the health benefits are so lucrative that you do want to stay in the system.
Yeah. I mean, and forgive me for taking I don't mean to do all the talking here, but yeah, like, to me, I feel like, well, I take whatever role there is, I'd be better for me to have a shorter contract. I'd rather have some more time and be paid less, but have health insurance so that I can pursue the other, like, I've worked with other schools and universities doing the type of work I do here, and they pay me independently. So I'd like to keep that. I'd like to increase that as part of my, kind of side gig or whatever you want to say, but
Absolutely. And
so
Mark,
developing that, so I'm less dependent on the turn of fortunes here.
yeah, one of the things that Raul's going to talk about, Mark, is we've got a program called Climb, converting layoffs into Minnesota businesses. And that's
Oh,
about
good.
how to start up a small business. And I'll give you an example. I
Smart.
graduated from Carleton College. You could not get your Bachelor of Arts from Carleton unless you could pass a swimming test. And that's because a philanthropist built our swimming pool. And his wife had drowned, and that was a prerequisite for getting
At
your Bachelor of Arts. Yes, at Carleton.
Let me do that.
There were people with 1,600 SAT scores who couldn't graduate because they couldn't swim.
Teach you how to blow bubbles.
Right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I love that.
We'll definitely talk about that. So we've heard from Jay and we've heard from Mark. Is there anybody else on the call?
I don't think so. I think those were the only two from the layoff list. Looks like Mike and I are here just in support and to learn.
I'm actually really
deal.
happy. Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that you've considered that thing, because it's like that's kind of the way I best think about all this. Like, when you look at the health institution, I go like, whoa, kind of time to get your lifeboat ready and to do like kind of private sector stuff. So that was one of my key ideas. Is like one of my like kind of my personal to-do list is like develop the LLC, like my own small business, how to do marketing for the small business. like I've done this type of work for other schools already, and would probably just expand some of that.
So Mark, Raul will talk more about this, but we've helped over 250 people
Great.
start up small businesses, and some of them did it despite COVID. So
I love that.
it's successful.
Love to hear that.
So folks, what we're going to do is we're first going to talk about employment services, which are available for anyone, whether you're a Teamster member or not. We provide those services, and they're funded by employers who lay off their workers in Minnesota. And all the services are free of charge to our program participants. The other piece is family services, and that's for financial and emotional support. And that's only for union members. I know that Nina said there might be some fee payers on the call who aren't paying dues to the union. If you're one of those folks, you would not be eligible for the family services that Shar talks about. Okay. So now I'm going to kick it to Raul to talk about our employment services. Folks, they call the program dislocated worker. I've never talked to anybody who's unemployed who described themselves as dislocated. So Raul, take it away.
Thank you, Jennifer. Hello, everyone. My name is Raul Sanchez, and I'm the Employment Service Manager with the Minnesota Teamsters Service Bureau. Like Jennifer said, our main program that we manage is the State Dislocated Worker Program, which provides assistance to those in your position, when being laid off through no fault of your own, to find another job. Basically, our program, you can think of, or the dislocated worker program, you can think of it as a complement for your unemployment benefits. Once you are laid off, unemployment is meant to supplement your income while you look for another job. And then, in the other hand, our program is meant to give you the tools you need to successfully find employment again. So that's basically what we're going to be going over today, just so you have an idea of what's available. Again, like Jennifer said, this is worst case scenario. If by January 2024 you are not able to save these jobs, then we'll be here to provide the support that you will need at that point. So our program help unemployed Minnesotans find careers that they love. Basically, the program works by connecting you with a career counselor that will provide most of these services to you on a one-on-one basis, right? Those services include career coaching, training. We can not only provide you with the training related to what Jennifer was mentioning before, maybe resume assistance, negotiation skills, but we can also pay for additional schooling in the event that you need to maybe obtain a new credential or get for some of you like what you mentioned, Mark, starting your own business, maybe help you with some entrepreneurial type of training that you may need to successfully do that. Obviously, the job placement is part of that. Financial support that would include paying for the tuition, paying for childcare, transportation to go back and forth to school. Those are all expenses that we can cover out of the funding we get from the state.
Time frame?
Say that again.
What's the time frame?
The time frame for the program. So basically, once you have your layoff notice, if you want to enroll, you are in a position to do so. Then the time frame usually, the state talks about, helping you, within 2 years, and that's just to allow people to, for those of those clients who need to go to school, that gives them enough time to potentially, get a 2-year degree. but it's based on what each individual needs. So for some, it may be just 3 months where you just get your resume all together. You just get the skills you need to successfully find employment again, and then you find a job. That's when the program ends. So we're gonna stay with you until you find your next employment, basically opportunity. And like I said, it could be 3 months, could be 2 years. For those in climb, though, the entrepreneurial clients, it may take a little bit longer, right? Because it may take a little bit longer to jumpstart your business and actually get some income going when you work at that.
So Raul, people's layoff notice from Minnesota State is their ticket to eligibility for our program, right?
Correct. Yes. So as soon as you get your layoff notice that tells you why you're losing your job and when you're losing your job, we can start the enrollment process if you want to get into the program at that moment.
Not at the
Okay.
end of the term of that employment, but when you have received notice, which we've received.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Technically, you can enroll once you receive that layoff notice. If you want to wait, it's up to like again, I know that you guys are going to be trying to save these jobs. If you are trying to do that and then at the end of the day you're not able to do it, then you can come after you get laid off, right? No problem at that point. The only advantage, or it's a good advantage, is that if you get the head start, if you enroll in the program maybe 3 months before your actual layoff date, you're going to have enough time to start kind of planning ahead, like, okay, this is what I would like to do. And again, you will work one-on-one with your counselor and then put a plan in place to kind of get a head start. So basically you don't have to wait until you are laid off to start the process.
Okay,
Got it.
So
we have already received our letters. So did the Teamsters, do you also have a copy of our letters? And I'm assuming, Nina, you probably have a copy of ours as well?
Yep, I was CC'd on them. I haven't forwarded the actual letters to anyone, and well, maybe Christy from the state board might have received a copy. I think she was CC'd in.
yeah, the
So-
only limitation with the letters of layoff, because we're talking about layoffs happening in January, that's more than 6 months away from today. So we will be able to enroll you in the program. You're going to start working with your counselor, but we won't be able to pay for any type of training or anything right now until you are within 6 months of your actual layoff date. So potentially, if you want to start going to school, for instance, to get a new credential certification of some sort, we're going to have to wait until you're within those 6 months of your actual layoff date. But the enrollment, the planning, all of that can be completed, as soon as you want with that layoff notice.
Got it.
So Raul, that would be July, they could enroll in our program, right?
Yes. I mean, after July, if layoff is January 1st, then July 1st, we can actually start not only completing your enrollment, but also paying for potential training that you may want to do. Right.
Describe your success rate, or how many people you've worked with, or how it's how you measure how well it all works.
Yes. So the placement rate that we have, there's a goal that is set up by the state and the federal government, the Department of Labor. That's an 84% of the all the clients we have. And we consistently meet or exceed the goals that are placed by the state. So basically, we are one of the largest dislocated worker program service providers for the state of Minnesota. And again, we're in the Twin Cities, right? But out of all the providers in the state, we kind of, serve the most people all together.
Bottom line, folks, if you want dislocated worker services, there is no other agency that helps more people more successfully than we do. We are the best partner for the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development. Nobody helps more people, and nobody does it better than we do.
I needed this call today.
Yes. And Mark,
Okay.
what you'll find is towards the end of the presentation, we're going to talk about some small business folks who have launched and what their success stories look like. It will impress you.
Cool.
Okay, so basically, like this slide says, we focus on trying to help people again find good union jobs when their goal is to find employment again. But as we talked before, that's not all we do. If you decide that your goal is to start your own business, then obviously we will help you with that particular goal, find out what is it that you need and all of that. Okay. Next slide, Jennifer. Like I mentioned before, the main component of our program once you are enrolled is that you get one-on-one attention from your career counselor. That will take you all the way from completing your first what we call IEP. Maybe some of you are familiar with that. For us, it means individual employment plan, no educational plan. But they will help you put that plan together, find out what is it that you need to do as part of that plan, and again do what we need to do to make sure that you get to your goals. One of the first activities that some people may encounter, again, maybe not for you if you already know what is it that you want, but in some cases this will also be very beneficial for you, is learning about your strengths. And we do have a certified strengths finder coach that provides these basic assessment to allow you to understand where your strengths are and how you can utilize those strengths to maximize your career decision-making process, find out exactly what type of jobs will be a good way for you to express those strengths and utilize them in an effective way. Our focus, like we mentioned, is to make sure that you get a better job, and we know that part of that is learning. We focus our program on providing you with the skills, training, credentials you need to successfully land a better job. So you will always, find that support from your counselor on exploring, whatever the options are that you think will make you more employable.
And gentlemen, you would be blown away by how much money we send in terms of tuition for our clients to Minnesota State campuses.
That's super
Yep.
reassuring.
Yep. So like Jennifer said, we, our clients usually, go to, many different programs to, learn from, you name it, accounting to, trade, programs to business, manufacturing, production, anything in between. Part of this process is, the training and education that you need. And, like I said, including truck driving, this is one of the, popular careers that we usually, serve people with. And again, we pay for everything, including, in some cases, steel toe boots, equipment that you may need for the training. So you're successful in, finishing that program.
So let me tell you a little story.
Go ahead.
I saw the truck driving. So my son is 28 years old, and he moved away, and he came home in his new truck, and he said, "Dad, I got a newer truck than you. I said, yeah, you do. And he said, Dad, I'm making more money than you now. I said, yes, son, you are.
You know,
He's
Jay,
driving truck.
that is a testimonial to the Teamsters. We say, if you bought it, we brought it. And
Yeah.
people with a high school diploma are able to earn over $100,000 as truck drivers right now. It's a tough way to make a living, but it is definitely lucrative because of the power of our union.
Right.
Yes, and right now in the picture you're looking at Edwina Patterson. She was one of our clients, and on her case, she didn't go to for truck driving, but we helped her with a phlebotomy certificate to help her kind of land her first entry-level job in healthcare, and that's one of the many examples of success stories that we have. Like I mentioned before, our program not only helps you with the tuition, but also anything related to that particular training that you may be pursuing, including, the tools, the transportation, the childcare that you may need to finish the program.
Even relocation, if you need to move for another job.
Well, I intend to live on my sailboat, so I'll need a diesel mechanic and welding.
I love that. I love that.
Then I'll teach
your counselor,
wilderness.
yeah.
Yeah, then I'll teach my wilderness first responders in Costa Rica and Japan.
Sounds good to me.
I like this call. My Monday's going better already.
We're glad to hear that. So, like we said, part of the services you will get from your counselor, and we also have a job developer and resume writer on staff that will help you with, polishing your resume, reinventing yourself. Especially, you mentioned both of you who have been, at the school for a long time. So if you are trying to either make a transition to a different job within the school, or maybe some other industries, definitely having someone look over your resume will be, something that you will value, and it will be very important for you to have that support.
So guys, the job developer that Raul's talking about, her name is Christine Chelstrom, and she was one of you. She was responsible for customized training at Minnesota State, so she is really familiar with internal moves within the system, and she knows how to create a resume that gets past the robots to the hiring managers.
I've seen these use Chat GPT for how crazy the resume process is now. It's so bizarre.
Totally. I mean,
the keyword process and everything. It's just so weird.
yeah, it's a different world. If you haven't job searched in the last decade, it's a
Strange
totally
stuff.
new ball game.
Where's Christine and what's her title?
Christine Chelstrom, it's CHELSTROM. She's our job developer, and she's located at our Minneapolis office. So as soon as you enroll in our program, Marker J, she can help you look at another job within the system. She can help you customize your resume. If you give us your draft resume and a link to a job you're interested in applying for, she will tailor your resume so it immediately gets through the robot to the hiring manager. It's about pulling keywords and key skill sets from the job description and embedding those in your resume.
Something else we'll do is help you with, all the job search related skills, including, interviewing and how to do it well, virtually. If you want to kind of explore those options, this was really, prevalent during the pandemic. Not so much now, but still you will encounter some, interview processes where you have to kind of do these virtual interview process and just understanding all the different approaches, technology that you need to use, and all that will be something that we can help you with. And right here, you're looking at one of our other success stories. Hans Akola, he was a client of us We help him, land a job in IT after, he successfully completed training that we pay for to get into his new career. Negotiations, again, another key component of the process of looking and finding employment. And we do have workshops that will teach you how to negotiate for what you're worth, how to utilize the power of negotiation to find better employment opportunities, or in some cases, once you find those jobs, maybe make it even better by utilizing these techniques. We also, Christine, the job developer, and your counselor will help you connect with employers who are, hiring right now. And again, we are not claiming that we kind of know that area very well, but Christine, your counselor, once you start working, if you intend to stay where you are, they will kind of help you from here, from the Twin Cities, discover potential employers that may be around your area, and we'll try to connect with other Teamster companies or Teamster related employers that we can connect you with in that region.
So folks, geography used to matter a lot. Now it really doesn't. We are able to help people no matter where they're located in the state. We just helped to relocate a bunch of Teamsters who were laid off from the milk plant in Rochester, and serving them virtually worked really effectively.
And then, like we mentioned before, if your goal is to be your own boss, we have these CLIMB activity under the Dislocated Worker Program. And CLIMB, like Jennifer mentioned, it stands for Converting Layoffs into Minnesota Businesses. And this is a way for us to help those of you who want to be self-employed, find the path forward. The program basically works by aligning your unemployment insurance benefits with our program, so you can, once you are laid off, you can collect unemployment benefits without actually having to look for work, and just devoting all your time to launching your business. Unemployment will still pay you, which, if you just apply for unemployment as a regular, job seeker, you are required by the system to look for work. You have to be applying for work. You have to be, doing that due diligence. But once you start, working on self-employment under CLIMB, you don't have to look for work. You just have to devote your time to, launch your business. So that's how the program will affect those benefits. And then in addition, we will be able to connect you with any resources that you may need, and pay for those resources to help you find whatever it is that you need. Like, for instance, you are launching your business, and maybe you know what the business is going to be, you know how to do the different activities, or use the skills you have to provide that service, but maybe you don't know how to implement an accounting system for this business, or maybe you're unsure about the legal aspects of establishing your business. So what we can do is actually pay consultants that will work with you to see what your business plan is, give you advice, look for blind spots, to make sure that you have a solid plan that will be successful.
So Raul, can
Yep.
I share a few of the success stories?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
So folks, this is Audra Robinson. Audra Robinson was laid off as a marketing manager at General Mills. And the day she got her layoff notice, she and her daughter were walking down the aisle at Target, and she discovered that there were no personal care products with Black girls on them. And so she decided to start making self-care products for young Black women. She was doing it at the kitchen sink in her home in Brooklyn Park. And then COVID hit. And she immediately, with the help of our consultants, pivoted to making COVID hand sanitizer for Black girls. Long story short, Target made a commitment to put 15% of its products as developed by Black entrepreneurs, and she got her foot in the door. And now she's working towards seed money so that her products can be on all the store shelves. She's also giving 5% of her profits back to send Black girls to Minnesota State campuses. So what Audra experienced is common. Usually a new entrepreneur who is selling something spends their first 2 years developing their plan, third year moving into profitability. This is Judy Praska. Judy knew that she wanted to open up a franchise. She just wasn't sure what one. And what she knew is that she had a child with developmental disabilities at home. She wanted to spend dinner time at home. She wanted to be there to help her child with homework. And this Fast Labs was her solution. It was a business that would work for her as an 8 to 5, and Judy is now profitable after 2 years. This is Abdo Ahmed. So Abdo, when he came to us, he had driven Uber and Lyft for a living and decided to get a commercial driver's license. And then he realized that there wasn't culturally appropriate training for the East African community. And so he started his own small business. Right now, they are busting at the seams because demand is so great. So those are 3 examples of folks who came through our Climb program and successfully started their own small businesses. What we're able to do is help you, first of all, create a small business plan. We will have veterans look at it. We can have people decide whether you've got a product or a curriculum that should be patented or not. We can help you figure out what your market is, who your audience is, what your price point should be, what your competition looks like. That's what it takes to be successful. And what we know is that about 1 out of every 3 small businesses that are launched don't succeed after 2 years. Most of our folks not only get into business, but they succeed because they've had the entrepreneurial support of the people that we can pay to advise you. So who's eligible for our dislocated worker program? Raul?
Yes, so basically, like we already mentioned, you are eligible if you are losing your job through no fault of your own, which in both of you, you are. You will be eligible for unemployment benefits, but again, because that's in the future, that's not going to be needed. The other, I think won't apply to you. So that's what you have to keep in mind today is, as long as you're being laid off through no fault of your own, that you have been working on this position for a long time to demonstrate long attachment to the workforce, and that you feel that it's going to be impossible for you to go back to this type of employment again. Again, both of you mentioned that these, positions you have are kind of quite niched within the school. So that's, perfect justification for you to become eligible, since, there's not, it's not that you're losing an accounting job where there's plenty of opportunities for you to go and find the replacement, right? So you're gonna have to kind of a little bit reinvent yourself if you need to get into a different type of role. And there we go. So that's kind of our presentation for today. You can, ask more questions.
So folks, we welcome your questions, and then we're going to kick it to Shar to talk about our family services. Any questions?
So, yes, I do have a question. And Nina can probably help me with this too. I understand that after my layoff, that I will be entitled to health insurance for 12 months after my layoff. However, it doesn't pay for health insurance for my wife, who does, I cover her now because she does daycare out of our home.
Mhm.
And I also have an adult son that's disabled, and I'm paying his insurance as well. So that's my other concern, is that health insurance costs for my wife and disabled son.
Absolutely. So Jay, I hear you loud and clear. You need to retain public employment in order to keep that good health insurance.
Yes.
And Jay, we should probably double check that with Megan, because I'm just rereading it. Because it just says an ASF member who's been laid off and receives an employer contribution for insurance and has 3 or more years of service remains eligible for the employer contribution for insurance. So BSU will pay their portion, but you would still be responsible for your side of the insurance for a period of 12 months from the effective date of layoff. So to me, we should double check this with Megan. My interpretation would be that you'd be able to continue your insurance at the same rate, or have you heard differently from Megan?
I don't recall. I guess I don't.
Yeah, that's a good
recall.
question to confirm with her, because I guess I would interpret that if you have family insurance now, that you'd be able to continue family insurance. But of course, like, your side of the premium is your responsibility. But let's ask that of Megan just to make sure we're clear on it.
Yeah, Nina, what
Yep.
what
Let
you
me see.
read seemed vague to me. It wasn't clear whether they're committing themselves to employee or family.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
probably want to
question.
ask how much the employee share would be of
Yeah.
the premium.
That would be an important thing to know.
Right.
So you all are
Same
covered
question.
through.
The other question I had was,
Oh, can I just ask, are you guys covered through CGIP? The State Employee Group Insurance
Yep.
Plan?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Mark.
oh, just the same question about dependent insurance. My 2 boys and my spouse, and then if that actually lasts 12 months, me. And then the other one was if the employment is till January 2nd, are we out of tuition waiver, or will that semester will it be available for that fall, spring, or if it's like you got a semester? Thanks.
So those are things I think we have to have clarified, what how the employer thinks. But you're still an employee covered by the collective bargaining agreement and eligible for the benefits. So, I interpret the contract to mean that your dependents are eligible for the tuition waiver.
Yep, for the fall semester.
That
We
would
asked
be
that
great
question
to
of
know.
Megan, and that was her interpretation too, is that it would end, it probably wouldn't enact for spring semester, since your layoff would be enacted before the semester begins for spring. But it would,
Yeah,
you would be qualified for
somebody
the
had
fall.
a different interpretation of that because. All right.
So folks, what I'm hearing is you're going to follow up on a couple things. First of all, whether the tuition what is the continuation of the tuition waiver? Does it extend beyond the layoff, right?
Yes.
And secondly, are they talking about co-braying for dependent care as well as individual care?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. So folks, you got the stamina to talk about family services next?
Yes.
I have to drive to pick up my kid, so I'm going to put it on.
Sounds good. And
So I'll listen.
Sounds good. And know that we're going to record this in case you you get interrupted.
So the other thing too is I'm assuming that Kim and Carissa have the same questions as we do on those two issues. So I'm guessing that we should draft one email to Megan in HR on behalf of the four of us. Correct?
Yeah.
Good deal. And who's going to do that?
I could throw it at her. We've been in regular communication. Would you prefer I send it via email and just CC everybody?
Sure, that would be great, Nina. Thank
Okay,
you.
I'll do that.
Nina, you're a rock star.
Just as much as these two are.
Yeah. Okay, folks, I'm gonna give it to, so folks, here is contact information for Raul. If you've got any questions about our employment services, Raul is your point person. What I always do is I take a screenshot with my phone for phone numbers that I want to remember. So put Raul on your speed dial. You
Thanks,
can
everyone.
also, you can also learn about us at jobpartners.org. So Shar, you are up next.
Thank you, Jennifer. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Well, thank you for your time. I talk really fast, so I'm going to try to slow it down so at least you can understand what I'm saying. My name is Shar Barrett. I'm the Family Service Advocate for the Minnesota Teamsters Service Bureau, and I've been with the Service Bureau since November of 2019 for Family Services. Next slide. We listen, we care, and you're not alone. That really is our motto for family services. We really want to provide the skills and tools to help our members be successful. Next slide. All our services that we offer are free and confidential. And there's a variety of ways those services can be provided, face-to-face counseling, referrals to other different services. There's virtual counseling if needed, and then also in office as needed. Next slide. Some of the services that we offer, as you can see, is mental health, chemical dependency, counseling for marriage or your own personal relationships, parenting education, grief support, and elderly care assistance. Next slide. Money management is great. Our members receive lots of information and plans to eliminate debt if they have that. Retirement planning, we also offer that as well. And then we also offer free legal consultation. Members receive 30 minutes free legal consultation if they need to for a variety of different reasons. And then also too, if our members need to have legal representation, like for instance, for court, our members can be referred to our legal representation at a discounted rate through our network. Next slide. Mental health. I just want to talk just a little bit about mental health. Unfortunately, this is our #1 service request. Many members, are experiencing anxiety, depression, and just not knowing what to do and feeling overwhelmed. I mean, that's really all you hear in the news or on the internet nowadays is many people that are having issues with their mental health. We do provide counseling to professionals that can help our members if they're experiencing any mental health situation and they just need someone to talk to. Next.
And Shar, if I can just interrupt for a second, Jay, this is the kind of work that you do at Bemidji State. The employers should be ashamed that they're trying to get rid of your mental health supports.
Well, that and I chair the Employee Wellness Committee. And so we promote EPA all the time. Like we coordinate an all-campus health fair in the fall. And that's a major part of what the health fair offers.
Exactly.
Next slide. Thank you. Food. I'm always happy to share with our members that I speak with that we have a food shelf. And it's really cool. It is run by Teamster volunteers. And it's open on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 9 to 2. It's located at the main level of our Teamster building. The address is 3001 University Avenue, Southeast here in Minneapolis. And so, like I said, they have tons of food that they don't mind sharing and telling about. You know, they're always eager to help our members in need. Next slide. Actually, here are some of the servers that help out in the food shelf. And so these are a great group of guys. They really take pride in their work and really love helping, you know, our members that are in need of food. Next slide. Here's a picture of our Teamsters Local 120 that's helping with the Farmer to Family program. I mean, it was a great program that ran. It was a pop-up food distribution that was held over 10 weeks at different locations throughout the city. There was no income requirement and no questions asked. Members from that particular community drove to the distribution site, and they were able to get their cars filled up. The trunks were popped, or back seats were let down, and 120 was able to fill up their trunks or back seats with nutritious food for the family, so no one went hungry. So that was a great program that 120 was able to help out with. Next slide. Financial planning. This is huge, especially for retirement. A lot of our members, you know, they're getting ready to reach that stage where they're going into retirement. And so when members call to kind of get a handle on, you know, are they going in the right direction, we're able to assist our members with retirement planning. And it starts off really with a simple question of, how do you want to live in retirement? Do you want to work part-time, or do you want to travel? And so that simple conversation starts the planning, just to make sure that our members have their ducks in a row when they're ready to reach that stage of actually retiring. We want them to have a good plan. We want them to have a plan that's doable and workable for them. Next slide. Tax help. This was also a great benefit that we were able to offer our Teamster members. We were able to help so many save so much money. Prepare and Prosper was able to offer this service to our members totally free. Members were able to prepare their taxes, file their state and federal return, and it didn't cost them a thing. And so, as you know, it costs money, well over $250 just to do a single payer filing. And so our members were able to save a ton of money just being able to file their taxes for free. Next. So even though our members saved a ton of money through the free services that we offer, we also do offer services for members that have an unexpected experience. Members can access from our Teamsters Emergency Fund a gas card, a grocery card, or a transit card. We know that members, you know, they have issues, and you know, it's just in that moment, and so they just need a little bit of help so they can go on to the next thing in their life. But we do offer that for our members. Next slide. I wanted to just mention the gift cards are offered through, thank you, are offered through United Way and the generosity of our Teamster members. Next slide.
And Shar, one of the things that we did when we heard about the Bemidji State layoffs is we said, is there a Cub Foods? Is there a holiday station in Bemidji? So what we're able to do is pick a grocery store that's near you so that you can have a gift card that's going to be shoppable or fuelable in your area.
Thank you. However, sometimes there's an unexpected financial crisis that our members experience that need more than the gift card. And so we also have the emergency fund. Actually, we call it the Teamsters Emergency Fund. And this is to help our members pay rent or mortgage, of utilities. Even we do those expenses like a car payment just to help them if they're experiencing a financial hardship. Next slide. So who's eligible for the Teamsters Emergency Fund? Our members are eligible. They have to qualify through being off work due to injury or illness, sanctioned strike, or termination that's being grieved by the union. We also inquire about, if the member is in good standing. We want our members to be active and active in their union. The grants, they most of the time don't exceed $1,000, and members can apply every 3 years for the funding. Next slide. So with a Teamsters Emergency Fund, we were able to help in 2022, 51 members. We provided food cards to them to help their families to purchase food so that no one went hungry during that time of need. Next slide. Also in 2022, the emergency fund was able to help 16 families pay their rent or mortgages. Members didn't have to experience eviction or becoming homeless. And so that was such a big help to a lot of our families that were experiencing so many different crises. Next slide. Family Services also has a connection to resources that help our members. I had a member that was able to return to work. They had been off because they had a child, and but they were having a hard time trying to find daycare, and so we were able to talk about some of the resources out there. But one of the resources that they were referred to was United Way 211, which is a phenomenal resource. They have all types of resources for the state of Minnesota, and they were able to inform the member about childcare in her area. They also went a step further to let her know that there's childcare assistance that she could apply for. And so because of that, that member was able to return to work knowing that her child was in a good, affordable childcare setting, and it was affordable. So that's some of the resources that Family Services can offer to our members. Next slide. Family Services also refers our members that are being furloughed. We talked about it earlier to Minnesota Job Partners, which is the other office or other part of our Minnesota Teamsters Service Bureau. A member that was just so frustrated with being laid off. We talked and she was just upset that, she was in a job that wasn't covering any of her bills. And so she just knew that she needed to change, but she didn't know how to make the change. And so with that, we were able to talk about Minnesota Job Partners, was able to refer her over. She was enrolled in a program. She was paired with a career counselor. That career counselor talked about her strengths, help her to identify those. She even went on to enroll in school She was able to graduate, received a degree in the medical field, and she has a very, very good job now. So she was able to fight the battle of not having enough finances due to her lack of skills. She gained the skills, she gained knowledge in a different, totally different area of work, and now she's making lots of money to help herself. And to go on to do so many other great things that she didn't think she had the skill sets to do. Next slide. United Way and Local 320 did a beautiful collaboration in providing N9 masks during the height of COVID to correctional officers and frontline workers. The protection obviously was needed during that time so that those frontline workers could continue to do their job, but also to protect them as they work. They didn't have to worry about, contracting COVID-19 during that time. Next slide. One of the hardest conversations that I had to have was with a member that was in a domestic relationship, and they saw an opportunity that they could actually leave that relationship. And so through the conversation, we were able to talk about, what does that look like if you were to leave? Do you have support? And so me and the member, we talked about those different issues and the struggles that she was going through. And so we talked about creating a getaway bag, which really basically is having extra set of car keys or having extra money put away in a bag that when she was ready, she could just grab it and go. We also talked about enrolling in the Safe to Home program, which provides free PO boxes to people that have experienced domestic violence, and then also the support. We talked about connecting with Minnesota Day One, which is a program that supports those that are going through domestic violence and provides shelter and safety for those that are experiencing that in their life. Next slide. Um, as you all know, we've had so much mental health, and we do get calls from our members that are contemplating suicide or just at their wits end, and they just don't know what to do, and they just feel like this is it. I have no other options, and so Family Services was able to connect the member to immediate services. Um, that particular situation I'm thinking of right now, help the member to talk about their feelings and talk about their thoughts with a professional that was licensed in that area. And so through that member was able to get the help that they needed. Actually, they actually went to a hospital where they were able to get the individualized help for their mental health needs during that time. So we get all different types of phone calls, all different types of situations where members, they need the help, and we're able to provide that to our members. Next slide.
And Shar, can I just add here?
Yes.
When workers get a layoff notice, that's really stressful. And if you pile on relationship concerns about your kids, concerns about your health care, concerns about your future ability to provide for your family, that can be overwhelming. So at any point in time, you can call us and we can hook you up with the best therapists in the business. When your body hurts, you go to the doctor. When your mind hurts, there is no shame in talking with somebody because life will always be better on the other side. And we can help you talk with somebody who will be there for you.
So honestly, every situation is different. People come from all different walks of life and they're experiencing so many different things. And so, we encourage our members to call Family Services talk with us. We want to help you. We want to support you. If you see someone that you're working with and they're not quite for sure what to do, have them call us. We would love to talk with them, try to get them hooked up with services that we offer, just to help them to gain the skills and tools that they could need and use to be successful. Next slide. Here's my contact information. I want to just point out we do have a 1-800 number after hours. If someone calls when our office is closed, we do offer a 1-800 number. We also have a website. If you have a question or you're trying to get a hold of a service, please email us. We do respond, and we love to just connect with you.
Shar, thank you so much. Folks, I first want to tell you how sorry we are about your layoffs. If you are unable to find other jobs within the system, if you need our assistance with finding your next job, with polishing your resume, with looking at opportunities to be your own boss and start your own business, we are here for you. I have been involved with many unions, and there is no union that takes care of its members the way that Teamsters do. We have recorded today's sessions so that Kim and Carissa can take a look. We are here as your safety net. We've got your back. Do not hesitate to contact us. Raul, you can stop the recording now.